First of all, thank you for asking me to address this gathering of ministers of minerals and natural resources of the International Conference of the Great Lakes region on the legal exploitation of natural resources within the region. On behalf of the government and the people of Kenya, I welcome you to our country. Kenya is greatly honored to host this conference, which I'm informed is the precursor to the special summit of the Great Lakes region on the legal exploitation of natural resources and minerals in the Great Lakes region, scheduled to take place in November this year. It is important to note that this conference is in line with our commitment to the Pact on Security, Stability, and Development, and the Protocol on the Illegal Exploitation of Natural Resources, and the Regional Mechanism for Certification of Natural Resources, signed back in the year 2006. The Great Lakes region is endowed with great wealth of natural resources. Unfortunately, these God-given resources, ideally meant to be useful in our lives, have sometimes been the cause of incessant conflicts. Unscrupulous exploitation of natural resources necessarily leads also to environmental degradation and ultimately, but sadly too, to poverty. Nothing undermines socio-economic development or the achievement of such ideals as those cited in the Millennium Development Goals as a citizenry trapped in want and in poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, with the signing of the Protocol on the Fight Against Illegal Exploitation of Natural Resources, signed and adopted by heads of states and government, there is a new hope. Going forward, we now shall have a firm legal foundation for action towards curbing illegal exploitation of natural resources in the region. I'm aware that this meeting is expected to reach an agreement on the roadmap towards a joint technical agenda for a special summit of the heads of state and government. This conference is also tasked with the challenge of developing an active partnership platform over and above means for concurrence on possible modes of cooperation on the exploitation of natural resources among member states. The task at hand, therefore, calls for thorough and candid preview of exactly where and when the rain, as it were, started beating us. The singular focus I urge you to stick to in your deliberations must emphasize that all natural resources and minerals are used to promote the interests and benefit of all citizens in the region. And ladies and gentlemen, Kenya has just concluded a successful referendum, as I just mentioned a little earlier on, that ushered in a new constitution that gives prominence to policy, legal, and institutional reforms. As leader of government business in the House, I'm committed to ensuring that our legislation favors the principles of fair distribution of the wealth accruing from natural resources, with special emphasis being laid on empowering our rural poor. I urge you, in attendance here today, to think of innovative ways of drawing multiple benefits from the exploitation of natural resources that can transform various sectors of economies in the region. I'm also persuaded that individual states will be able to reap more fruits from the exploitation of natural resources if countries within the Great Lakes region evolve a platform to facilitate knowledge transfer in the mining sector. Kenya enacted the Environmental Management Coordination Act in 1999. This act provides a wide range of provisions that govern management and conservation of the environment and natural resources in Kenya. With regard to international treaties, conventions, and agreements, the Act gives the government the authority to institute legislative and other measures in the management of the environment. In other words, we in this country have already developed templates onto compliance with the objectives of the Protocol on the illegal exploitation of natural resources, and that we are really determined to enforcing the same. In conclusion, Let me point out the lack of resources and capacity are some of the challenges and constraints limiting Kenya from meeting the goals of the protocol. Decisive measures must be taken to ensure that nothing hinders the recommendations this conference will come up with across the entire Great Lakes region. To that end, I call upon the international community and indeed our development partners to assist member states towards the realization of the noble goals of the protocol. I'm convinced that together we can transform the region to be a center of equitable social development in a clean and secure environment as envisaged by the Pact on Security, Stability and Development. I also want to say that Minister John is also responsible. Minister Michuki happens to be responsible for the entire sector on mining. And I know that once I served as his predecessor, and we have an Act of Parliament which clearly now is due for review, a 1947 statute on mining. I'm happy that the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources is now almost at the final stages of making a presentation so that this country can also seriously join the league of countries that do serious mining of their natural resources. I remember one time attending the Damba conference in South Africa, and I attempted that time Minister John Michuki to place Kenya on the mining map. I'm sure that where I failed, this minister is not known for failure. He's going to make sure that things happen. It is now my honor and privilege to declare the regional interministerial meeting of ministers of mines and natural resources officially open. And I wish you successful deliberation. And please enjoy your stay in Nairobi. Nairobi is your home. Don't leave in a hurry, because after all, you don't come from very far. So thank you so much. Karibuni sana.